Marble Madness! Hello everyone, I'm the MoeChicken, and we're going to be playing Marble Madness today. Specifically, I am going to try to beat Marble Madness. Now, I've done it before. Once, I think. We're going to give it another shot. This is a game that, if you never played Marble Madness, you play as a marble, and your goal is to get to the end of the courses without running out of time. You can see I have a timer up there, and, yeah, it's just, that's the entire goal of the game. You were just trying to, it's just a race. And it's a really cool game. Like, it's, one thing that's kind of always struck me as odd is that I think it was produced by Milton Bradley. Now, whenever I think of Milton Bradley, I tend to think of board games, because I think that's primarily what they did when I grew up. So, like, I know that, you know, the original NES was marketed as a toy. That was actually how it was sort of allowed to be successful during the, like, following the video game. I guess you wouldn't call it a boom. I guess you'd call it a bust when people became sort of disenchanted with video games. I think it was in like the late or early '80s, maybe. Anyway, so I guess it sort of makes sense to think of like a game manufacturer, or like a toy or board game manufacturer, as making a video game. But it also just feels weird because they don't really feel like a developer. In fact, I think the developer of this was either Tengen or Rare. Actually, I saw both names in the credits, so I'm not really sure who made it, but one of those two made it. Anyway, they're both good developers, so it could have been either one. But yeah, it's a cool game. It's very unusual though. Like, the controls are they're not too difficult to deal with. You know, you steer yourself with a control pad, and if you hold down A, you can kind of, I guess, run. Does that make sense in the context of a marble? I don't know, but you can sort of run. And you just try and go, and there are lots of things that want to stop you. And I got time. So that's one of the things that's always kind of bugged me a little bit about this game. I mean, so I'm not entirely in the camp of, like, games should always be skill, there should never be any luck involved. I think luck has its place in games. But what you just saw there, the whole, like, fairy granting me time, is something that's always really bugged me about this game, because I don't think there's any... I think it's completely random when it happens, and it can really give you a lot. It gives you I think it gives you 10 extra seconds. So I'm in a much better state now than I should have been based on what I just did. So I don't know. It's the little wand thing always kind of bugged me a little bit. But anyway, I feel like I'm kind of talking over most of the game. Well, okay, that is what I do. I talk over games. But I'm not really referencing what I'm doing at all. We are in the... Right now, we're actually at the second to last level, if you'll believe that. Maybe because I was talking, but I've done better than I expected to in my first run. Was my marble freaking out there for a little bit? And we are currently in the city race, where you go up instead of down, and it says everything you know is wrong. It also has a lot of, like, crazy, nonsensical geometry, which I always think is kind of cool, and I beat it. Okay, we're about to get to the last race. I can't guarantee, even doing as well as I have, I cannot guarantee I will beat this, because this is really tough. There's a part at the very end, which is a real killer. But, this is a game that I had grown up. I think this and this and Adventures in the Magic Kingdom were what I would describe as my two, like, weird games. Because, you know, like, most people, you know, like, I feel like most of my friends during the NES era had, like, you know, they had most of the normal games, like the Marios and stuff, and then they had, like, one or two, like, out there games. Like, a friend of mine had, he had Felix the Cat. Did I just beat it? I just beat it! That was Marble Madness, you guys! Wait, really? Congratulations, left player, you have completed the ultimate race. Okay. Hooray for me! I guess I'll keep playing. This is too short to be an episode, so I'll just do it again. Go Moe. It's pretty sweet. If I had someone else here, I'd play 2-player, but I can't, so there you go. I'll play as Maria this time. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I feel like a lot of my friends had like 1 or 2 games that were kind of out there. Because, like, okay, so for me, I think growing up I had Mario 1, 2, and 3. I had the stolen copy of Zelda that I talked about before. Actually, I don't know if that one's come out yet, but yes, if it has not come out, keep that in mind. There will be a story about how I inadvertently / vertently stole a copy of Legend of Zelda. And I had, I think I had Mega Man 2, and those were sort of my orthodox games. Those were all like, you know, from famous companies, and they're like, you know, they're popular games, blah blah blah. They're the kind of games that, you know, people would buy on recommendation nowadays. I'll go this way this time. Look at that cool like machinery there. That's neat. Excuse me. And then I had Adventures in the Magic Kingdom and this, and like it's almost a phenomenon with the NES era that during that time period you didn't really have a whole lot of way of. Actually, I think I've talked about this before, but you didn't have a whole lot of way of vetting things. You know, like knowing what a game would be like beforehand. So you just kind of, you bought what you bought. Oh yeah, I was talking about this in the Adventure Island. Right, now I remember. Watch the Adventure Island 2 series if you want to find out more about that. And so people would sometimes get games that were kind of weird. Like Marble Madness. And it's a really fun game. I'm happy that I had this, because that was brutal, by the way. I just melted. Because I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. I probably would have never bought this game. And I got, free time. It didn't happen last... Wait, that was just... Was that points or was that time? I think that was actually time and points. That was done so well. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but I'm not used to doing this well at this game. I feel like some other shoe's gonna drop and, like, my marble's just gonna randomly explode or something. Anyway. Yeah, I feel like this is a game that I'm happy I had it. Now, something to be said. So this game was also released as an arcade machine. I don't know if it was released as an arcade machine first. I'm inclined to believe that's probably the case, because the arcade machine had like the weirdest controller. So one of the cool things about like early like video games, especially stuff like in television and stuff, is that they hadn't really decided on a controller paradigm yet. You know, people still thought of like joysticks, for example, as a viable control mechanism. And no offense to anyone who still likes joysticks. And so you had a lot of situations where like people would use like games that have like super weird controllers. And for this, it was like a ball on the arcade machine that you'd like roll with your hand to steer yourself. Everything you know is wrong. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this on the way up. I love this part up here. Like, so there have been these enemies that have been harassing you the entire time, and here they're all like just hanging out and they're tiny and you can squish them for extra seconds. Die, all of you. I will kill all of you. By and large, it's more trouble than it's worth to actually go through and get them. It's not really worth it, but still gratifying. It feels good. Feels good, man. But yeah, I actually there's an arcade relatively close to me. I guess in my city, but not really close per se. I have to go out of my way to get there. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But they have an arcade machine that has like the original Marble Madness with its weird controller. I got to like level 2. I couldn't get anywhere with that thing. I could not control it at all. It was a mess. But it was fun. It was cool to try, and like it reinforced that notion that oftentimes ports wind up becoming easier. Usually it's because of hardware limitations, but in that instance it's because that controller was just crazy. All right, we're back at the ultimate race. Will I beat it again? We'll see. I don't know. I have a little bit less time, I think, this time, so that's something. And I fell off the cliff. That's also important. Go down. So you see that guy there, that black marble? You can actually attack it and destroy it, but it's very hard to actually hit it hard enough to destroy it. Now, look, imagine trying to do this with like a wacky marble controller. No, no, no. It's hard enough with a control pad. Come on. Come on. Go, 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 go. Oh! This is the high point, you guys. This is the high point of my career. It will never get better than this. That was me beating Marble Madness 2 times in a row, in less than 10 minutes. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I feel very good about myself. I am the MoeChicken. This is Marble Madness. If you never played it before, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for stopping by.